And we are live. Welcome, 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 one and all, to another episode in Live with Venice. I am your host, Venice Irving, and I welcome you to my platform today. Thank you so much for your viewership. Thank you for tuning in every week to hear what we have to offer you, the resources, the tips, and yes, job opportunities too. So come on in, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell all your family and friends that we are live, we are raring to go. Today we have as our special guest Mr. Miles Iton, and he will be speaking about how to use creative arts in the classroom. We're going to learn a little bit about him, his accomplishments, and what is he doing in Asia and what he has in store for us for the future, for us as teachers, Caribbean teachers, teachers around the world. So come on in, come on in. As usual, I'm going to ask you to put your name and where you're streaming in from in the comment box below. So I'm waiting for persons to come on in. I hope you can hear me clearly. I hope you can see me clearly. We have been having some internet difficulties, but I hope you're also keeping safe. We are approaching a lockdown in Jamaica starting at 8 p.m. So in the next 2 hours, we'll be totally locked down in our homes. So I hope to entertain you while you are locked down and to give you some information as to what you can do, where you can go to get resources, to get support, to get help, and of course to have fun, to laugh and have fun, right? So remember, put your comments in the box, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Share this page if you're on Facebook and like it also. All right. Hi, Marlene Lawrence Grant from Jamaica. We are bigging you up today. And Marlene, tell all your friends, tell your coworkers to come right on in because we're going to be talking today to Miles Iton, and he's going to be talking about how we can use creative arts in the classroom. So get on in, get on in, get on in. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put Miles on the platform and we're going to talk. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment box below as you. Welcome, 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 Mr. Icon Miles. How are you doing today, Miles?
Hello, I'm all good. Nice to meet you. Thank you for letting me visit your platform and people.
Absolutely. Now, I know there's a bit of a delay, but we're going to be pushing through that, right?
We'll
All
freestyle
right.
it. It's all
So,
good.
Miles, absolutely. So, Miles, I was reading up on you and I saw that you have a nickname and your nickname is Ari Givens, correct?
Yes, we are. Ira Givens, highly living, as we like to say.
All right. So can you tell me why Ari Givens? Where did that name come from? And tell us, of course, a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Miami, Florida, to a Caribbean family. My mom was Jamaican, my dad was Vincentian. So as
All
I was growing,
right. Jamaica.
live it up, turn up, turn up.
You
And
know,
I
right?
think you don't know. That's what it was. You grew up Caribbean in Miami. You grew up with that extra bit of flavor, and that really took
Right.
on in my academic interests too. I got really
Mhm.
into, especially being one of the only black faces in the school I attend for a while. Really into not
Mhm.
just the craft of hip hop as a language art, but the history of it and how it was,
Right.
something
Right.
my people were doing today. And then you find out the
Right.
fun
Right.
fact the Jamaicans come with that too. So
That's right.
that we invented the game,
That's right.
truly.
Right. So Ira Givens was give well, you adopted that name because of your Caribbean heritage, correct?
Yes, we want to give Irie times every time I'm on the stage. It
Uh,
was, I think, a final shift in, deciding the kind of artist I want to be as well.
Right, right. And here you're talking about being an artist. And I am not an artist per se, but I do have this creative mind. And I'm wondering, was this something that you've always wanted to do from you were a child? How did you get into this artistic, way of, your career, your thinking, even in your hobbies with songwriting and stuff like that? How did that come about?
Well, part of growing up inspired by hip hop was also growing up and being inspired as a creative entrepreneur, which I think is a role teachers
Right.
fill a lot as well. You study a
Mhm.
craft so deeply and then you learn how to get engaged with it and engage others in it.
Right.
That's very similar to the
Mhm.
craft of performing. So I
Okay,
think
that's interesting.
yeah, I really think it played hand in hand to realize, oh, I actually like, engaging with the arts I see on TV and the people entertaining us, in
Mhm.
the streets and stages. Not only can I do
Mhm.
that, but you can do it in a constructive way in a different industry. So, it kind
Right.
of it kind of kill your relatives when they're like, "Oh, you're smart in class, you're getting good grades," but then the boy tell you he want to be a poet or something. So,
Right, right, right.
you
So was
also
this something that your parents encouraged to go into the arts, to do songwriting, to sing, to do hip hop, etc., or were they the ones that kind of tried to steer you more academical?
no, my parents were, I think, big proponents of anything that got me doing reading and writing to know how critical that
Right,
was. So I was
right,
blessed to
right,
really,
right,
don't get me wrong, I had to prove myself a couple times, but it keeps you sharper.
right, right. All right. Well, big up to the Jamaican mommy, Mrs. Iton, right?
Miss
Because you're the
Ortiz out there,
Jamaican
God bless her.
parent. Yes. So you know that Jamaican parents, we don't play when it comes to education. We ensure that our children are educated because that's, we always say that's the future. That's the way to come out of poverty. That's the way to come out of ignorance and, certain mentality. Education is the way to go. All right. So, Mr. Iton, you are currently studying in Taiwan. And, one of the reasons why I decided to reach out to you is because I lived in Taiwan. Many of you all know this already, right? The viewers.
Oh.
And I was there for about 8 years. And I was like, oh, there's somebody else in Taiwan. Wait, let me see what this person is all about. So, how did you get there?
Well, first I have to travel in the path of OGs like yourself, truly. So there's one. And at
Uh-huh.
at the end of my undergraduate experience at New College of Florida, I applied for a Fulbright grant, got in to go to graduate school, and ended up really enjoying it, getting to learn a new language, engage in a new
Right.
just way of living you never came up in. I was here for it.
But why did you choose Taiwan? There are so many other places you can go under Fulbright grant, right?
Yeah, but something about Taiwan, it was my first experience there. I had been learning Mandarin in college for a year, so I said, this would be a great opportunity to, put that to
Uh-huh.
practice. But then I found out more about the
Okay.
history of Taiwan, and they are really the country kicking it right now. They are the island
I
that
know.
defeated coronavirus. You know what I mean? You wanna
Exactly.
I'm gonna
With
believe
a
what they
female
got in stock.
president at that. Hello. They are doing it.
Facts.
They are doing it. So you're in Taiwan. Tell us what you're studying at the moment under this scholarship.
So I actually just graduated recently from
Okay.
National Chung Kung University in Creative Industries Design, which is
Okay.
essentially creative management.
Okay. Okay. And you're based in Tainan, correct?
I have actually just quite recently moved from Taiwan to Taipei to fully
Okay.
start up lo-fi language learning as a result of my graduate project getting out of academia and into the creative education world.
Okay, so lo-fi learning, language learning rather, was it something that came from your dissertation, or was it something that you wanted to start from before?
So I had kind of a nugget of an idea coming to Taiwan. I applied to the Fulbright grant really stating, hey, I have a background in using hip hop to teach and lead and do it effectively. And they believed in my vision to let that evolve into some higher education project. So through the years and with my
Okay.
dissertation, I really ended up solidifying the what, the why, and the how, and it's now my passion and dissertation.
Okay, so for those who don't know, Miles founded a language institute, right, called Lo-Fi Language Learning. And so he founded something called a freestyle and flowetry tutorial as a hip hop composition course that was sponsored by Professor Dr. Carl Shaw. Freestyle and Flowetry was further refined on the way to his senior thesis to encompass public speaking training, history of hip hop as a subculture, and the literary intersections between an MC's composition techniques and collective music and verse traditions throughout Eastern and Western societies. So that is really deep and in depth. Let us know. There are two courses really that you guys do, as far as I can tell. Is that so? You do an overarching certificate course with Bridge TEFL, and then from that you have your two courses that you yourself have created, right? To add to that course. So tell us a little bit more about that process.
Sure. So our current alliance with Bridge is for a program called Arts and EFL Training, where we
Mhm.
have students. Half of our class is from New College of Florida, my alma mater, when another half of students just around the world and around the world community from Maryland to Nigeria, um, signing up to concurrently take these EFL certification courses from Bridge, but attending our creative curriculum design workshops to learn how to integrate their art as it relates to hip hop and my art and use it as a tool to create actual engaging but also culturally competent learning materials for students because in a
Mhm.
way that's our perception of us gets out there to the
Right.
world. I've been learning in Taiwan.
Um, okay, so we are talking about lo-fi language learning. You do those two courses in addition to the Bridge TEFL certificate. So what's your target market?
So currently we are working with students at the university level, undergraduate,
Okay.
a couple graduate students could be up. We're certainly
Mhm.
looking to capture early or developing career stage
Right.
educators, artists, or arts educators.
Interesting. So persons who are currently in college or in graduate school or just graduated and are early career teachers, get on board, guys. Get on board. You see what Miles is doing as a Jamaican. He's out here making waves and just moving forward and paving the way for creative arts within the EFL classroom. For those who don't know what EFL means, that's English as a foreign language. All right, great. So now you have done the course, you have founded this lo-fi language learning, but before that, you were into film and you actually produced a film, I think it's a short film called Sincerely the Black Kids. So tell me,
Mm.
how did you get into this film industry?
You know, it is a wild story that I wouldn't even have anticipated on this journey, but essentially, there was a moment in our undergraduate years where my friend and I got to be co-presidents of the student government, leadership and education, y'all.
Right.
And then we had an incident happen to us that was not
Mm.
atypical of what was going on in the United States at the time, where
Mm.
a lot of campus climate and honestly just I don't know misalignment and some aggressions went into coming at us as newly
Mm.
elected black and brown, just students at a school where we were not that represented. So, Sincerely the
Interesting.
Black Kids was a documentary about not just us, but how other black student leaders in universities across the country at the
Right.
cusp of the Trump election were really faring.
Wow. Would you like to share a little bit of your experience? You said that when you were at college, you were you and your counterparts were brown and black student leaders. However, there were persons that probably were opposed to your leadership, maybe leadership skills, leadership style, or just maybe because you are black and in that position, they were feeling uncomfortable. Was there any specific incident that you'd like to share with the viewers as to how you got this inspiration to do the film?
Sure. So, there was a scenario, and it's not even us per se, but for one of the
Mhm.
students we profile, we most of the people we profile were students I ran into during
Mhm.
conferences or I don't know incidents. This was a student we just saw in the news and called up who went to Clemson University, and
Right.
he like out of some wondrous coincidence, right? Does
Mhm.
kneel at the American Pledge of Allegiance as Colin Kaepernick of the NFL was doing for the time,
Oh, yes. Hmm.
and suddenly there's an impeachment trial against him where
At school?
he was the vice president of his student government, and that
Oh, okay,
incident,
okay.
suspiciously as controversial as it was, somehow led to his attempted
Wow.
impeachment from the student government. So me getting involved in
Wow.
film was more realizing how much I wanted to
Mm.
document these experiences, and then eventually it
Exactly.
grew into doing creative filmmaking.
And then also realizing that your experience is not isolated. That as you begin to speak, as you begin to connect with people, you realize that persons are having the same kind of experience. So that's what birthed that documentary, Sincerely the Black Kids. So I was looking at the short clip of it online, and I realized also that you founded the production company, NE Bodied Entertainment. Listen, this is an overachiever. People, we have an overachiever here, okay? And we know as Jamaican blood running you, so we know that you don't do anything
Eh,
ordinary. You have to be extraordinary, okay?
all the
So tell
time.
us about your production company, and I'm assuming you produced Sincerely Backwards through that production company. What other films do you produce?
So Anybody Entertainment started as the banner for us just, create Wild and Creative College here to release creative things out into the web. And then Cecilia the Black Kids came along and I said, wait, no, this is actually our brand now, our banner. We can make
Right.
this a thing. So eventually I started using it to put out Ari Gibbons music videos. Um, got recently pivoted into doing video marketing, especially during COVID. You got to do what you got to do to, use your talents wisely in the economy. So,
We know in Jamaica we say we have to turn and make fashion, right? You can't sit down and do, we gotta do something. All
yeah,
right.
my
Mhm.
mother told me, don't be idle. If that's the one thing I'm going to take away from this
Exactly.
heritage.
Exactly. Exactly. Always be productive. All right. So, are there any other films that you have in the pipeline?
You know, I would love soon to do some profiles and get back into the documentarian scene. For lo-fi, currently, what we're putting our video efforts towards are um, guiding students through their first video lessons, a lot like some of what you do. So again, as the OG, you taking props, and we're helping them produce their first videos, and that's something I think I'm
Okay.
proud of,
Okay.
using our skills to execute others' vision.
Okay, very good. All right. So, another question I have for you is, again, doing research and seeing also that you're a songwriter. So, this man has founded a company and is a teacher, educator. He has founded a production company. So, he's a producer and now he's a songwriter. So, tell me, how did that come about with the songwriting? Was that linked to the hip hop?
Yes, that was the first title of any of those. That was the bread and butter. That is how we got here. That is what I'm, claiming as the original stamp. So I gotta give credit to being that kid just writing raps and lines in your what in between classes or in school before you realize,
Right.
wait, I'm actually really good at English now.
Interesting. So I am kind of feeling away because I don't understand why you are into rap and hip hop and I don't hear anything about reggae and you know that is we of the reggae stamp in the world. So
You know,
listen, come on now, come on, come on. The Jamaican
listen.
teachers are gonna give you a hard time for this.
No, you know how y'all do when your children grow up a foreign and then you say you can't even chat, so I'm not gonna go there
Yeah.
and get for my hodgepodge accent mixed up with all of the business. Not today,
Yes.
not I. I'll leave that
All
to the
right. So
experts.
all right, I see. All right, Miles. So now, I like this topic that we're talking about creative arts in the classroom because I find that it is so innovative, and so many people are artists in their own right, but they just don't know how to incorporate their creativity in the classroom without getting that frown face from administration. You know how it goes because many times our principals just want us to do things by the book, and we as teachers sometimes want to be creative and find different ways because no child learns the same, right? Every child learns differently. And it is proven that music and the arts used in a class can help and increase learning over time. So, give us some tips as to how teachers across the world can incorporate the creative arts within the classroom.
Sure. So one, I would say, and let's go theoretical and practical. So, practically use the tools around you, be in the moment. You have items just surrounding you that can instantly make a rhythm or be incorporated into your lesson in a way that makes the entire experience memorable and not just using one sense to engage with you. They're using sound, they're using their sight, and then you get them
Mhm,
moving, and now
mhm.
the entire learning experience scientifically just has to be engaged with on more than one faculty. And I think that's something that we should be able to encourage more is experiential learning in every way. So use your
Right.
arts to create experiences for your students. I don't just get on in front of the classroom and say, rap for me, child, entertain me, and start learning. There's a real engagement that you have to master with your art the same way you would a stage. You're performing for children doesn't make it any much less a performance.
Right, right. All right, what if I don't have any rhythm and I find that the music, the art is great for the kids, but I don't see myself as creative and I have no rhythm. I don't know how to do a beat. What advice would you give to teachers like that?
Well, shoot. First, I say hit us up at Lo-Fi Language Learning. That's why we here. That's why we coming on the screen. But
Right, right.
I I do want to say I feel that to an extent. I was always honestly a little self-conscious because I am not the deepest reader of music theory. Like I can see it and I can interpret it, but my instrument was
Mhm.
rapping in my voice. Maybe I could beat a drum, but you're not
Right.
getting sonatas and I don't know whatever else I'm supposed to name those from me. But we gotta remember our
Mhm.
traditions too as sound artists in collective music experiences like calypso, like having the griot,
Mhm.
like the cipher circle. It's
Mhm.
everybody putting
Right,
forward their constitutive skills in music together, whether or not it's
right,
considered smart or not, or good art or bad art. It's art that's part of you, and I think that's something people can learn the most from,
right.
especially as students.
And then one thing, teachers can also draw on their own culture, right? So if you're from Jamaica, go into Jamaican culture and pull from that. If you're from Canada, go into Canadian culture and pull from that. And if you're from Russia or wherever, just use your culture that you are comfortable with and introduce it to the class, and you'll never know the response that you'll get. All right. So one question: any plans for Hollywood?
Whew, I don't know about all that. I like getting
You
my
don't
reviews.
listen, listen, listen. We are going right to the top, straight to the top, right? So if it is
Shoot.
not Hollywood, it is the Jamaica film industry that you can come to here and show your expertise. And come on, come on. We would love to see what you can do and how you can progress by, elevating your skills, your techniques, your talents, sharing with the other local artists here who want a bus, they want a little, you know, opportunity to go do a thing and to learn something and to make something of themselves. So think of that, Mr. Iton. All right. So since you're in the film industry for some time, have you mentored anyone regarding film, songwriting, hip hop education, and especially now that you're in Taiwan, I want to ask you a few questions regarding your time in Taiwan and how you like it so far. But let us talk more about mentorship because mentorship is very important, especially going back to that question that I asked about if I'm not a teacher that is rhythm. I don't have the rhythm. I'm not inclined that way. Then is it good to mentor someone like that, or should I find a mentor?
Yes, I think mentorship is something that is important in every walk of life, no matter what it is you do. How would you get better if you don't learn from the experiences of people who've been doing it longer than you or have come before? Even if you're doing something brand new, you know, everything
Right,
you did has already been done. They know all the tricks from bricks to Kingston. So find
right.
OGs. I think that's a real important thing to do. I think even me, I'm only 25 doing what I'm doing, but when I go do talks
Mm,
specifically to black kids, I'll always tell a student, "Hey, email me if you're working on a project right now. You just need to know where to look, what grants
right.
to try to go after that are within your grasp."
Mhm.
It's the little things
Right.
you do, and then the bigger things like lo-fi language learning, like literal mentorship. There's just more, I think, to get out of your network when you focus on, and this is our tagline for the group: elevating the ground instead of climbing the ladder.
Elevating the ground instead of climbing the ladder.
Facts.
I like it. Elevating the ground instead of climbing the ladder. Interesting. So, what is that? What is the meaning behind that? Are you saying this is what I get when I hear that tagline? You are trying to promote everyone and give everyone a chance instead of one person climbing the ladder by themselves and going up? Is that?
Yes. we want to make sure that we are, when we say trailblazing, trailblazing. When you're setting off on your own trail, make sure
Right,
others can follow. And that is why
right.
we are using it as commercial. The tagline for the upcoming podcast, from
All
me and the Black
right.
to Black expat, maps and movements. Keep an eye out for it. Ugh. Sorry, had to
Okay.
drop a little in there.
Okay. Good. Good. No problem. No problem. All right. So I want to now go back to your time in Taiwan and your experience. You've been there now for about what, 2 years or over a year?
This is going to be my, let's say, second and a half. I left after graduating to go check on the family and deal with the business back home with COVID.
Mhm.
But this is going to
Okay.
be
And
my
now you're
continuous
back.
third.
All right.
Yep.
So why did you go back?
Because Taiwan is honestly, as I was saying earlier, just, I think, a real wonder in the world right now. First of all,
Mhm.
I can engage enough in English, but also challenge myself to learn a new language. And, so
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can be part of his geopolitical narrative that is really, the the one that could. There's a lot surrounding Taiwan's
Mhm.
status in the world right now as
Mhm.
basically, a country within a
Yes.
country. And
Mhm.
between all that, you hear about this island that literally, in the middle of its, again, first time, having a female president, legalizing same sex marriage, doing all
Right.
the things that it should seem like you is, I don't know, not the thing for a conservative nation to do. Now they end up beating
Right. Right.
Corona. And I don't know, you really just gotta have some inspiration for it, man.
Right. Right. So your experience in Taiwan, since you've been there now, you said for 3 years, how has it been regarding race relations? Because as far as the eye can see when you're there, all you see is the Taiwanese. You might see a sprinkling of foreigners here and there, but not too many black persons. And I have had many testimonies myself of persons just coming up to me and speaking to me. And then sometimes I do have some negative experience sprinkled in there. So how has your experience been when it comes to race relations in Taiwan?
Hey, to be honest, I'm coming from the United States, so take it as a, not grain of salt, but I don't know how you'd say it. I honestly can't say I've had a time that keeps me up at night in regards to that. I think, even learning more about
Right.
the history of of brown folks there, the indigenous Taiwanese
Mhm.
population, and learning about
Yes.
their status as minorities on the island,
Right.
there's still an understanding of approaching them as a black Westerner and having your story
Mhm.
understood when you engage in,
Right.
you know, a real conversation. So I would.
Right.
That's the long answer. The short answer is, you can deal a lot more with "Can I touch your hair?" than "Sir, please step out of the vehicle," and that's just facts.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Well, I was coming from Jamaica, small little island in the Caribbean. And I was like a real culture shock, right? Real culture shock when I went there. I was only 20 years old when I went, and I had mostly great experiences, but just a few negative experiences. But I realized that those negative experiences stemmed from ignorance. They had no clue. Many of them were, seeing a black person for the first time.
True.
So I felt, not sometimes, most of the time I felt like a fish in a bowl, right? It was just looking. How is it for you? Do you feel like a fish in the bowl sometimes? Or is it something like you're accepted, you are praised, you're almost idolized? Because I know Taiwanese can look on foreigners as if we're celebrities, which is a good thing sometimes. You get some perks. So
Well,
how was that? Has that part been for you?
the contradiction here I have to accept is that you don't want to show up as the black guy who just seems to be like what they see in the TV, but you have dreadlocks, rap,
Right.
and do you know what I mean?
That's true.
So
Yes, I do.
I think I really had to get in the mindset of engaging as just my fullest self, and that, coupled with having community of black folks out here in Taiwan, of which is strong, especially Caribbean folks, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ascension. So shout out to all the people out there in
Mm-hmm.
Taiwan with it. Moonbeam,
Mm-hmm.
KG, you know what it is. We gotta do a little one for the people. But I do think there's a strong black community in Taiwan to forge
Mm-hmm.
that keeps keeps you remembering where you come from.
Right. And keeps you grounded.
Yep,
And that
definitely.
that community has was stemmed from the fact that Chinese government and the Saint Vincent government has a great relationship. The Taiwanese government, that is, have a great relationship with the Saint Vincent government, and they have established some scholarship funds for Saint Vincent students to go over, right, to study. So, and that happened after I left. I heard quite a few
Aw.
persons from St. Vincent are there. All right, so I want to wrap this up, and the last thing I want to you to do is to give international teachers tips on how to engage international students, especially teachers who are thinking of traveling abroad, like China, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, etc. And they're thinking of going to teach English, and they're wondering, how am I going to engage? Because the question I always get from Jamaican teachers wanting to go is, do I have to speak Chinese? How am I going to teach these people another language? How is it gonna work? Give us some practical tips that international can take away from this.
The best tip I can give anyone, whether it's fellow teachers or my students or participants, whoever they may be, is always just straight up grit. As we'd say in Mandarin, yo, 自信, some confidence. Really and truly, you gotta, especially as an educator and an artist, understand that, your
Yes.
strength, your job, your skill is your perspective. So
Right.
understand what that means in the market and let that carry you with the confidence that you really can go anywhere in this world, because what you have to offer
Mhm.
is valued. And you will,
Right.
of course, as you engage and just approach every day with your best self, pick up on a few things yourself. We learn every day. So, yo,
That's
you
true.
surviving in this world right now, you can for sure pick up some learning Mandarin Chinese.
Right, right. They can go on Duolingo and learn Chinese, or just go on straight up Google. Google a couple of words and learn Chinese.
对啊。
Ah, listen, you're throwing the Chinese words at me, and I do understand them. I just don't remember half of them because I've left there 2008. But I do need to get back to learning Chinese. I was up to one point so fluent, and I was so proud of myself, and then I lost it all because you know how it is with languages, right? If you're not practicing, you end up losing it. So thank you
I
so much,
feel
Miles. Miles, do you want to leave anything else for our viewers? Anything else that you want to say to our viewers before you go?
yes, if you like the idea of designing your own sundowns in life, you should check out Irie Given's music on Spotify, Bandcamp, or more. You should also check out Lo-Fi Language Learning to see what new opportunities could be coming to you in the virtual workplace.
Or hold on, give me those. Let me write it down so people can see. Ari Givens.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Irie Givens and Lo-Fi Language Learning. You can find both of those on Instagram, Irie underscore Givens, and at Lo-Fi Language.
Okay. So it's at Irie underscore Givens.
Yes.
Is there an address that you have that want, probably reach out to you in case they're interested in any course?
Yes. Feel free to check out lofilanguage.com. You can contact us through our website. There'll be a form to reach out to the people there for the Lo-Fi team, because it's definitely more than just Irie Gibbons. Shout out to Naeem, Eileen, and Donovan, and we are happy to keep you guys abreast with what we got next.
All right, so that's lofilanguage.com.
Yes, yes.
Is
Lofilanguage.com.
all right. So that's lofilanguage.com, everyone. You can go onto the website and fill out the form if you are interested in learning more. If, by the way, are there opportunities for persons to come on board? Are you giving job opportunities for persons who would want to work, things like that? Because that's what the teachers are always going to ask. Okay, I will come and do your course, but after that, where's the job?
Hey, well, you know what?
How
I
does
hope
that
we
work?
can offer those soon. We are currently in our first program, but hey, between me and you, Venice, let's hit up Bridge and see what we can get popping.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we are here to promote creative arts in the classroom. And with that promotion comes promoting your culture in the classroom. So here is using hip hop within the classroom to get the curriculum, you know, have everyone understand the curriculum through hip hop. Of course, we have him up because I don't understand how him now use reggae, but that's okay. We still big him up because he's doing the hip hop. He's chartering his course, and he's doing things his way. All right, so thank you so much to Miles Iton, aka Ari Evans. And we thank him for inspiring us, because there are many teachers out there who are creative, who have this creative mind, but just don't know how to put it in the classroom. Remember that he has his language learning institute, Lo-Fi Language Learning, and he is here to teach you about how to use your musical ability and your rhythm to incorporate in classrooms to get results. So hit him on lofilanguage.com. Lofilanguage.com. All right. So thank you one and all for viewing today. It was a lovely time that we had with you today. And join me next week when we have another person with another resource, another job opportunity, and some other support system that you can use to encourage yourself along the way, so that we as teachers can become happy teachers every day. So I'll see you next time, guys. Bye bye. Thank you, man.
Saichen, thank you.